There were a lot of government services. We were a lot into delivery of services, something like what Dunzo does nowadays. You could ask us anything and we'll do it for you. So you could ask us to go to the bank and maybe deposit an application. You could ask us to book, for example, a holiday package to US or Switzerland. You could even ask us to find something from the market, something wherein you are not able to find. I remember there was a case where we sort of searched the entire sort of NCR market and we found it and delivered. So we wowed the customer with that. And the way we used to do it was that we did not go retail. We decided that this was an offering that would become partners with the HR in terms of doing this for the employees and the organization. So this was the starting point. After we got associated with the company, we used to get involved in a lot of activities, employee engagement activities that the companies used to do. So basically, a lot of KRAs that an employee engagement manager in HR used to have. So we used to handle a lot of those steps.
So Vivek, we have Deepthi, who is one of our participants or as an audience who is here. Deepthi, over to you. You can just turn on your video and ask your question straight away to Vivek. And then we have Shreya Vashisht, who also wanted to ask a question. So after Deepthi, Shreya, you can ask the question.
Yeah. Hi, Vivek. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So it's really very fascinating to hear your journey, and I'm sure a very difficult one, though you make it sound very smooth, but I'm sure quite turmoiling. My question is that how do you select the first team members of a startup that you are a part of, that you have initiated, and what are the common features that you are certain while hiring, maybe not as a founder, but maybe as a consultant, etc. in your team, common skills, common values, or common goals? And which of these three would you give more priority to, and why, and how does it help in the long run?
All right. How do you choose the right people? So when I started, I thought I knew everything. I knew who's the right person and what am I going to do and so on and so forth. The one thing I've learned across my entrepreneurial journey is that nobody is really sure of, what is the right answer, who's the right person. You can only make a good guess basis your experience. Since I had no experience, so I did what I thought was right. I went with the general feeling I used to get when I used to meet the person, because that person is going to work with me directly. This is not a large organization. So when I started, the compatibility with the person was very, very important. And second most important factor for me was integrity. So I used to have, a decent conversation to understand if integrity was in place. Maybe I'll, through my conversation, create anecdotes to see what is the response of the person. If I had a doubt that this person to help the company will do wrong things, I will never hire that person, because then that person can go against me as well and is not honest. So integrity was very, very prime, because if integrity is in place but your skills are not up to the mark, you can still learn the skills through hard work. But if your skills are great and integrity is not in place, nobody can really help you. And I committed a lot of mistakes. I have hired a lot of wrong people because I was desperate to hire them. There was very limited time, to do something. And so I've committed a lot of mistakes. I remember one very silly incident. The person came into the office for interview. I interviewed him and I thought he was lying. And I got upset on him. I got upset and only to later realize that I don't have to get upset. I can just reject that person. That person is his problem, not mine. Because so I was so emotionally involved, and it was just the beginning, So I told him, why are you lying, and so on. So right now, the advice I would give you is that you need to have your own parameters in terms of what are you looking at. Obviously, the behavioral part, the skill part is very, very important. When companies talk about culture, the culture is basically how is that person going to fit into already a running, machinery. In your case, the culture may be the behavior that person has. What is the tuning you have with that person? So really, when before you go in for a marriage, before you have that person, probably have a few dating sessions, talk to that person, involve that person into some small projects, or, maybe, give him an assignment to see how the response is. You need to do some stress testing. Otherwise, the person will give you all the good answers and you will only hear what you really want to hear.
Thank you. Thanks.
Good question.
Great. Now we have, I think we had one more person, Shreya. Shreya, if you just can
Hello.
Shreya, your internet.
Hello. Hi, Vivek.
Yeah, hi. Shreya, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Hi, Vivek. So, first of all, amazing answer to how to select the team members. I could actually relate to whatever you just said. So, we're starting up a vernacular influencer marketing platform, and we kind of are ticking off on the boxes that you mentioned. So, my question is not to do with my startup, it's to do with, the perception people have when you're starting up after quitting, a well-placed job. What would you say to those people, especially, my parents? How do I address that? Why did you quit a good job? Why you're struggling with the startup? What would you, say to something like that? How would you address it?
I think what our people closest to us say affects us the most, and
Sure.
that is why what your parents are telling. Parents would never want, their child to get uncomfortable and really see them struggle. And especially when you get into something, see, you are very vulnerable, when you're starting, and you are at a stage where you are not 100% sure if it is going to work out. And parents want surety for their children. If you are going to share everything with your parents, then this is going to continue. This is going to continue
Okay.
because for everything you tell them, they will have a counter advice. I am sure this is happening
Right.
because probably, I don't know, but are your parents in service or have they run a business before?
Vivek is answering.
No, they were in service.
Absolutely. So, parents who have run a business understand what comes with starting a business. So when your parents, are in the service class and you are trying to start a business, then what you should do is you have to really control the information that's going to them. Obviously, you don't have to be dishonest. You have to pass on the information. But if you open up your emotions and everything, and
Right.
one day, and you just call your mother and sort of blow up, I think next day you will have a lot of advice coming from them of what you should do. Secondly, you should talk to people who have already done this. If you're a marketing platform, talk to people in that industry, talk to people who have already done this, talk to experts, talk to people who've been through that journey. And the kind of guidance, the kind of advice they will give you will resonate in a way that you will be able to answer your parents better. You can show them, this is something that has been done. These are the people who are already doing it. And we are testing it out, and I'm confident that we will work out better.
Right.
But if you're just going to sort of show them your emotions when on the negative side, then please be prepared to get a lot of advice.
Great. I think,
Okay. Sure. Sounds great.
Shreya, I think there's a lot of background noise where you are. So if you can just put yourself on mute, it will be really helpful. So Vivek, we have Ankur who is asking this question. I'm sorry, he's driving, so he cannot go ahead and turn his video on. But he's asking that,
Sure.
Did you raise structured funding for the first time for EYL? Please describe the challenges and learnings from it.
Okay, so we did not raise external funding for EYL. We bootstrapped the company. When I started, I had another partner who also invested in the company along with me. And since it was a service company, it was easier for us to start. It was not very capital intensive. I must point out that by the time around 2015-16, when I was in the sort of when I was in the dilemma of what way the company should move forward, there was a time when I thought about raising external funding. That would have required a lot of changes in the business model and a lot of different things which I didn't want to do. And so I chose to exit the company, through the acquisition route. So during the journey, no, we did not raise external funding, and it sort of worked very well for us at that point of time.
So when the Super Seva thing happened, Vivek, did they come to you proactively, or did you go ahead with your proposal of a merger or an acquisition?
So these things, really work out in a way when you do conversations. So you're talking to people, the words gets around. Not obviously in the media. Super Seva knew what we were doing, and we had made a mark in the market, and so on. And we also knew what Super Seva was doing. And so there was a conversation that was going on, and it was a very casual sort of conversation. But then me and the CEO of Super Seva met first time and then second time because it was very important for me to see who is going to take the vision and the values and the work ethic was very, very important. Because I really wanted to see that the handover should be done in a very proper way and with somebody who's responsible enough to take it forward. And after the meetings, I was confident that this is the right company. They had all the systems in place. They had grown really well. They were doing a lot of good work. I knew they had a very good reputation in the market because I was speaking with the clients. So yes, it was not a very difficult decision, though I was in talks with a few other companies, but then we zeroed in on Super Seva.
Okay. So if you have any questions, guys, you can please raise your hand and I can let you ask your question to Vivek. Entrepreneurship it sounds very easy. It is not. बहुत मेहनत लगती है, बहुत planning करनी पड़ती है. You need to ensure that your blueprints are well thought, well designed. Now, Vivek, you said during the course of conversation that you failed multiple times. So when you failed and you did not have any answer, whom did you go to? Or even if you went to somebody, they gave you some answer which you're not convinced with, and you know that you're failing. How did you recover from such situations?
So initially, so failures in entrepreneurship comes at all levels. From a very small failure that you recover fast because you see that you've committed a mistake, to the point where your business is struggling at some point when you start off. So when you hit with a failure, it feels extremely bad. You feel very, very low. The reason is that you have not seen this kind of failure, because you have been in a job, you have been working hard, you know what to do, you've been getting regular salary. Your boss never told you that you're not going to get salary for the next 3 months because you've not been working properly. They can only ask you to leave, but never stop your salary. However, when you start running a service, when you start building a business, the requirement for capital to sustain the operations is the most challenging part, especially when you start growing and you have employees and you have to pay them regularly on time. You cannot say that because the client has not paid or because of this particular issue or because we are investing this money somewhere else, we are not able to pay you. So no matter what, they are an employee, they need to get paid. And whatever roadblocks you are hit, either with the capital cash crunch, whether your customers not growing at the speed you want, or whether your contracts getting off, initially it hits you very hard. So a failure of a kind, first time it hits very hard. The second time, the third time, the fourth time, you sort of learn from it. You know what mistake you committed. Why has this happened? Was it the lack of planning? Was it the lack of skill? Was it because you did not understand the dynamics of that particular circumstance or of that situation, or you did not read the person properly? Because every failure happening because there are other people involved or there is a situation. So, and with every failure you learn. So next time that failure does not really happen in the way that you do not expect. It will happen, but the sort of, in your mind, especially the size of the failures, decreases. So when you have gone through these failures multiple times, within a few years, so the failures do not look so large. So you're able to focus on the bigger things. Things are going to fail by virtue of, you being an entrepreneur and you're running a company, and things will fail. But then you take it in the stride and you keep planning forward. What also helped was talking to people from the community, people who had been there, who have been struggling. It is very, very important to talk to people who are in a similar journey. Otherwise, it feels very lonely. It will feel lonely anyways, but it is better if you could speak to a person in a week, in a month, and when you listen to their challenges, you are able to correlate that there is a lot of similarity, and that gives you, sort of
Some sort of
peace at
some comfort, yeah.
comfort. Yes, that I'm not alone, and this probably this it's not just because of me. It is because of how things are, and it is okay. It is okay. So what is it that now I'm at point B? What are the things, steps I should take so that I can go in the direction I want to go?
Great. So with the interest of time, we have one last question from Yogesh. Yogesh, you want to ask one question to Vivek. I know you have typed in your question in the chat box. Do you really want to unmute yourself and ask your question to Vivek?
Yeah, that's right. Clip talk. Hi. Sorry. Just to give a little bit of background about me, I come with 10 plus years of experience into recruitment.
Hi, Yogesh.
Just yeah. I'm not able to speed up my business because of this economic downturn which is happening right now. So, can you just tell me some of the ways where I can quicken up my business and I can go on?
Okay.
Any strategies which you can help me out of this, because we are reaching out to the customers, but it is getting delayed from the customers. So end of it is like we work for customers and we wait for their payments. So, and it has become one difficult task in getting the situations coming to a proper routine. So can you just give me one solution for it, or you can just help me out on this, Vivek, to be of a great
So
help.
Yogesh, the first thing I would like to say here is that the lockdown has really impacted everybody. There's nobody in this country who has not been impacted or who can say that I'm cool with it. No, it is impacted very, very badly. For your particular kind of business, you will have to see what works and what doesn't work. There are people here, I know Ankur Chadha, I know is a specialist in the recruiting fraternity. I will advise that you speak to people who have more experience in the business that you are doing, and will be able to give you exact strategies of how you can acquire customers. My advice, I can give you advice on this, but it is going to be generic advice. I will ask you to talk to specialists like Ankur, who can give you. I've been speaking to Ankur often on on the recruitment side of things. I have a few other friends in the search industry. The search industry is also in a soup because the recruitment is not happening. However, there is a percentage of companies that are hiring. They may not be big mandates, there are small mandates. However, you need to figure out ways that you can reach out to those companies, understand what are the mandates, and this is the time to sort of build relationships so that when the hiring actually starts picking up, you are the first person that your customer sort of calls. During this time, what exactly you should do, how you should reach out to, I don't know what industries are you targeting, but I really advise that you should speak to people, who are in this industry, and can give you specific advice as to what you should do with the specific recruiting industry.
And if I may also add, Vivek, that the way the transformation is happening digitally, right? The world is moving to a next generation digital transformation. So if there is a legacy recruitment system, Yogesh, I don't know to what extent I would be able to add value to your question, but since my little bit of experience, and I've spent good over a decade in the industry, in the corporate industry, and having been associated with the large IT conglomerates, Yogesh, Ankur is pinging you that you can reach out to him and take some suggestions and valuable suggestions how to survive. But all I'm saying is upskill yourself, learn and imbibe a lot of new things, because there's a lot of AI, there's a lot of robotics that is getting inculcated, right? So if you are still going to be thinking that even during the lockdown or post the lockdown, you would be continuing that legacy system the way you were functioning before, trust me, that is not going to be the world. You really need to upskill yourself and think about how do you amalgamate AI, how do you amalgamate robotics, how do you get into the digital transformation part of it, so that you are one step above. There are a lot of recruitment, agencies or the companies, big ones are also equally suffering. But if you are going to be a little distinguished, if you are going to be coming up something different to the organizations that you will be pitching in, trust me, you will have that edge over others. I mean, that's my little piece of advice. I don't know to what extent it will make any sense, but yes, Yogesh, you can reach out to Ankur, as Vivek has mentioned, and Ankur has also put his comments in the chat box. In the interest of time, we have overshot our time by 7 minutes. We will give it another 3 more minutes. I think the conversation was a little intense. And Vivek, we thank you very much for coming over and sharing your journey. But now let me ask you a little question. When was the last time you lied? And you lied to whom, and what was that lie was all about?
Last time I lied?
Yeah, very recently. When did you lie last?
Recently?
Yeah, very recently. I know it's an impromptu question, and I don't want to put you into an uncomfortable situation, but you can't take so much of time. You have to really answer it fast.
I had no opportunities to lie. I mean, I'm sort of, one thing, usually I lie about is, okay, with lockdown, things have changed, but before lockdown, I've been sort of, I travel a lot. So, people keep asking that, where are you right now? And I'll keep giving them vague answers, so that they keep, juggling and thinking of where am I? So it's not really a lie, but I don't tell the truth.
Wow, what a diplomatic way of answering that question, huh? Great. So just for everyone, guys, you all have received an email. I know I have spoken to a lot of people yesterday. Since I could not connect with any one of them today, I think the participant count went a little less. People must have forgotten or have skipped their mind, but no worries, that's absolutely fine. We are not here only for an audience to come to the talk show. We are here to talk with each other. I think the insights that you have given, Vivek, I think it becomes an inspiration for a lot of people who will have joined, including myself, because you have to start from somewhere, and you started and you built it and then you sold it. And I'm sure your next venture is coming up very soon, and you do not want to disclose probably, but I'm sure the world is very small. LinkedIn is open.
I'm not going to lie here, but whenever there is a plan, you'll be the first one to know.
Oh, definitely. That's my pleasure, Vivek. And guys, for your information, if you are not yet connected with Vivek, and if you really want to connect with Vivek, please go to his LinkedIn profile. He's on LinkedIn as named as Vivek Chadha. You can just type and you can connect with him. He is on Facebook. He is on Instagram. So just find your way out to connect with him. So my sincere request to all of you, it's a brand new initiative. Request you to please spread the word. There is an email that has been sent to you. There is a Facebook page link. There is an Instagram page link. We need your help. We just need one click from your end. Just like that page so that it reaches to the maximum audience. We have our next Glip Talk 2.4 coming up on the next Sunday, which is same time, 5 o'clock, with the world's one of the most 51st happiness leader. She's a psychologist. She's an award-winning happiness coach, and her name is Sakshi Mandhan. So very soon you will receive a communication from my end about details about that particular show. We will have loads of conversation to talk about mental health and how to stay stable. Now, Vivek's conversation was something very different, a little off track, to how to start from the beginning and how to get into entrepreneurship. I really wish, Vivek, we had 2 more hours to talk more, but I do not want to hold on the audience and their time because they have taken out this 5 minutes. A lot of people said it's a good session. A lot of people said we should have such sessions again. I'm sure we will have another opportunity to come and talk to you and know a little more. about
Oh, I'll be more than happy to do that.
yeah, about setting up infrastructure, like the way Deepti asked a question, like the way Shreya asked a question, even Yogesh for that matter, even Vikas, and even Preeti for that matter. So I think lovely questions, and it's a knowledge exchange. Come a talk show, come knowing about somebody more detail, and I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart.
My pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure to be here. And thank you everyone who's come and taken out the time to listen.
Correct.
And really had a great time here.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Vivek. It was a pleasure. Just before you leave, a parting message, a note that you would like to tell everyone during this pandemic, where a lot of people are probably struggling. A lot of people are not finding certain answers to certain questions, and especially on the context of entrepreneurship.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
I said your parting experience, I mean, your parting message during this pandemic where a lot of people are struggling with the situation for even survival also, I guess.
Um, I tell everybody that pandemic is not your mistake. It is very, very important that you sort of keep a positive note. How do you do that is basically, you keep talking to people. You keep in touch with your friends. You understand that things are going to turn out for the better. You have to be practical that things are not going to change tomorrow. You need to keep a daily schedule of things that are happening. You need to keep your mind occupied because mind acts in very funny ways. And there are days, even with me, there are days when I feel so low because things are not moving and nothing is happening. But then you have to keep a schedule. You have to keep yourself busy. You have to keep your mind busy. You have to keep talking to your friends, and you have to have the belief that things are going to work out. I always keep telling me that in the next 2 months, maybe it's June, July, August, things are going to turn out for the better. So let me prepare for the future. And when things turn out better, I should be the most well prepared person there. I should not have wasted this time thinking of what will happen. I always think things will happen for the good, and I will use this time to prepare myself for the better. And that keeps me occupied and really helps me energize and keeps me going. So I think that advice should work out well for everybody else as well.
Great. Thank you so much once again, Mr. Vivek Chadha, for coming out, giving that precious 1 hour, more than 1 hour to ourselves. We will definitely have such more interactions with you lined up in the coming days also to know more about entrepreneurship. With this, we say goodbye and thank you everyone for joining in, and take care, God bless, and stay safe. We will see you next week.
Thank you.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Thank you. Bye-bye.